Okay, guys, so I was talking about the fact that there is, and it's been admitted that there are government operatives or trolls or shills, which we've been seeing them and dealing with them quite a bit, especially in this movement. So I wanted I've been saying I was going to make this video. I wanted to go into some different sources that show this along with some different manuals to really explain just how real this is to you guys. So when you got people like Mythbusters and then all these other ones that are out there trying to attack the movement. Now, I'm not going to say all of them are trolls or shills. Some of the people that are putting out content trying to combat the movement are just people that don't understand, or you know, I don't know, they aren't catching the facts or the drift quick enough, or they felt somehow they were wronged. So I'm not the kind that's going to say every single one of them is a government operative, but it's really hard to decipher which ones are in the end because they do a really good job of masquerading and hiding themselves and making themselves appear as just your normal person. So I did want to bring, however, attention to the fact that, yes, we do have government paid operatives, trolls and shills. That is not just a fairy tale or a myth or anything. So here we go. CIA-sponsored trolls monitor social media and interact with users to discredit factual information. Now, for those of you that are not, your attention doesn't get held too much with just documents or articles. There is going to be some other additions to this, but I would strongly recommend, because this is a very important topic. This is what could be the difference between you getting fooled into giving up on something that is in all actuality the truth, and then knowing better and saying, oh, okay, that person's definitely an operative. I'm also going to be adding a bunch of some of the best videos I found on this topic at a later date. So I'm going to have this version, and then I'm going to have this with a bunch of video clips, okay? So let's take a look. In July of this year, it became apparent through a flood of mainstream media reports that the National Security Agency, NSA, was desperate to hire new hacking talent to protect the nation's critical infrastructure. The NSA is notorious for its surveillance programs on American digital activity. David Petraeus, former director of the CIA, said in a summit for In-Q-Tel that he was speculating on the Internet of Things and the transformational I guess that's what transformational is an overused word, but I believe it properly applies to those technologies, particularly their effect on clandestine tradecraft. So they go on here. Petraeus is seeking to better the CIA's ability to create online identities for undercover spies. Currently, each internet user has a digital footprint that can trace the movements online to the person on the other end of the screen. Petraeus wants to utilize technology that will essentially erase a digital footprint, erasing all traces of anyone at the whim of the CIA. In a possible preparation for the ability the CIA to spy on American citizens with their household items, we already know about that. The NSA's Utah data center is located in the Utah desert in the foothills. This is the centerpiece for the Global Information Grid, a military project that collects yottabytes of data. They are listening to every conversation, reading every post, intercepting every text message under the false flag of terrorism. Okay? This facility has the technological ability to record and analyze every communication in the world, from emails, phone calls, to text messages and chats. Nothing's private. Based on threat levels, NSA can use technology at their disposal to obtain information on finances, stock transactions, business deals, foreign military, diplomatic secrets, legal documents, and personal civilian equipment or communications. Sorry. I want to get to the part where it talks about the trolls. The information could be used at fusion centers, yada yada yada. Okay. At the same time, the NSA Spy Center was being constructed. Attorney General Eric Holder new guidelines for the National Counterterrorism Center. These guidelines would allow NCTC access to data on Americans once held under the right to privacy. Will focus on collecting and sharing information, regardless of whether there was a threat of terrorism or not. The NSA has a comprehensive program to search out our schools into scouting grounds for a team of American-grown hacker community. The Obama administration has made it a concern of theirs that the future of cybersecurity rests with the college graduates of tomorrow. The NSA is focusing on colleges and universities within the U.S. 4 schools have already been singled out as official centers for academic excellence in cyber operations. Now, the KCOP focuses on recruiting persons with particular emphasis on technologies and techniques related to specialized cyber operations, e.g., the collection, exploitation, and response to enhance the national security posture of our nation. Those chosen for this program become vital researchers expected to assist in global communications and computing networks, developing a digital strategic advantage, collaboration with the U.S. government on cyber issues, carry out directives and designated targets at the discretion of the U.S. government. Okay. So as it keeps going on here, they basically take these geniuses, okay, and I'm going to show you some, which is going to be even more disclosing, as they were talking about colleges and whatnot. I just want to get to the other point here I wanted to make. This whole thing is very important to, you guys should read it, but Open Source Center, where recruited personnel are used as government trolls to analyze for information pertinent to the objective of the U.S. government, meaning discrediting targets on certain websites. Okay. Software used to sift through mountains of users on social networking sites at the Atlanta CIA branch where Williams was trained. She personally witnessed CIA-sponsored and sanctioned trolling of Americans on social networking sites. Okay, according to Lynn Williams, or Lynne, a former CIA clandestine service trainee and DIA analyst, the FBI and CIA used trolls to monitor social media and interact with users to discredit information disseminated on the web. Williams explains that the CIA provides training videos to new recruits on how to troll the internet. Once a target is locked in, all open source information is obtained on the individual, and then every angle to discredit them in public forums is used on social media sites. You guys hearing this? Okay. Under the guise of conducting business intelligence, i.e. cyber espionage, the open source software gathers digital data on targets including Facebook posts, Twitter posts, comments, website threads. Those assigned to monitor their data can interact with users online, okay, through anonymous portals. Agents are designated to surveillance operations to message anyone, analyze political and religious speech, assess trends, and conduct electronic eavesdropping through cell phones, satellites, or other digital apparatus. Agents not only survey the internet and interact as anonymous persons through directed postings, but also are deployed to wander through the streets domestically and in foreign nations to monitor newspapers and other printed media to extract useful information about the temperament of the general public.
So is it okay to have the government monitor social media conversations and then to wade in and correct some of those conversations? With more on this, let's go to technology expert Carmi Levy. He's on the line from Montreal. Carmi, do you think the government's monitoring what you and I are saying right now? Is this whole thing getting out of line or what?
Well, I think the potential is certainly there, and I really hate to be the cynic here because you really should be applauding the government for recognizing that social media are the new way that Canadians keep in touch, and certainly in order to be involved in that discussion, you have to be involved in that discussion as well. So, kudos to Harper's Conservatives, to the government for wading into the wilds of social media and starting to move policy generation into this new realm. It only makes sense, but at the same time, it opens up a bit of a question. I'd like to call it a Pandora's box of, what exactly is the government's aim here? And what do they hope to accomplish with what they find out? And as they accumulate this information online, this data on us, where does that data go? And so, I think as much as we should applaud the government for getting into this area, the optics of it are potentially very Big Brother-ish. And the government really does need to be a little bit more concrete on what its intentions are and how it intends to achieve this.
So you're concerned about A, the optics, B, the motives. Can you elaborate a little more on the motives when you say, why exactly, maybe the real reason they're doing this? What are you inferring there?
Exactly, because let's say I'm participating in, I've left a comment on a blog or on a website on a particular issue. In this case, it's related to fisheries. I would feel very funny if suddenly, out of the blue, someone from the government gives me a call or emails me or posts a rebuttal online to me without really understanding the context of that. And so at this point, if I don't really understand where that response is coming from, I'm going to wonder every time I post online, is someone from the federal government watching what I'm saying?
Right.
Do I have to change the temper or the tone of my argument simply because I worry that I'm being watched? It is a little bit scary. We've been talking about this risk, this online risk for so long. Now that the government is wading into it, I think it needs to be very conscious of the potential for those fears to come true.
So you do foresee, people who are engaged in, maybe a political conversation online in some sort of social forum, that there's going to be an element of fear, and that eventually it could change what people do say on the internet if it's political in nature?
Exactly, because you're stuck wondering who's watching and what are they going to do if I say the quote-unquote wrong thing. You're going to necessarily change the way you involve yourself in that very public discussion and debate.
Carmi, let me also put this to you, though. The government could argue, well, we spend money on billboards, on TV ads to communicate things like the home reno tax credit or inform Canadians, about what they can do. So is this really any different? I mean, I'm sure they will argue, well, we're just trying to get correct information to the people of Canada.
And that's all well and good, but billboards can't reach me in my bedroom. When the government uses social media, it can't.
Okay, interesting. We're going to keep talking about it. Carmi Levy joining us with his view. Thanks, Carmi.
Thank you.
So, as you guys just heard there, that was in Canada, but there's a lot more. I have many more videos. Those are going to be added, but I have even more damning than that. When professional trolls want to attack for copyright infringement, they may combine defamatory comments across the internet with a fraudulent DMCA notice of takedown to discredit a source of information that they feel threatened by. So they will use defamatory comments. You guys have been seeing a lot of those, right? Especially towards myself and Harvey and some of the other ones putting up the videos here. So a lot of defamatory comments coming out. The EFF have reported on copyright trolls that experiment with claiming copyright infringement to extract settlements from individuals. These trolls try to grow business out of suing internet users. Okay? Professional trolls litter the court system with frivolous lawsuits based on wild accusations of copyright infringement in order to wear down the victim, as well as hoping to squeeze monetary restitution for fraudulent claims. These members of alternative media, as well as readers, need to be aware of these individuals who are cloaked in truth, yet rife with disinformation. Their intention is to cut off the free flow of information on the internet and stifle voices that are exposing truth for their own selfish gains. So, you know, you got people coming in and saying that you never access your accounts, etc., and then try to throw a little bit of truth in there and then something totally bogus, and when they're asked for proof, they won't give it to you. They throw a hissy fit and hang up the call. Sound familiar? All right, on to the next one. The Art of Deception, Training for a New Generation of Online Covert Operations. Now, this is the Training for a New Generation of Online Covert Operations Manual. Okay, secret, relation to USA. HSOC, Human Science Operations Cell. Online, Strategic Influence, Disruption, and CNA. Okay, sociology, anthropology, psychology, or economics, biology, political science, history. And then they break that down even further for you. Social networks, obedience, compliance, culture, deception, influence, personality, trust, belief, religion, neuroscience, global trends, key leader engagement. Okay. We want to build cyber magicians. Online covert action accreditation. Key skill strands. Online, individual, group, and global. Influence and info ops, psychology, deception, performance and media, disruption and CNA, professionalism, elegance, creativity, and intuition. So here we go. Individual, behavior and influence, belief, personality, remote assessment and digital cues, self, who am I, motives, and exploiting them, how to apply these. So this is basically the manual they give out on how to do this. Okay. Conspiracy stories, virtual communities, social identity theory, social proof, herding, etc. Agenticity. Reducing group effectiveness, group dynamics, becoming, targeting, motives, roles, influence, cascade, constructing news systems, financial ecosystems of media. Here, psychology, trust, okay? Persuasive tech, 10 principles of scams, hindsight, bias, confirmation bias, anchoring, priming, building relationships, mirroring, mimicking, as we've talked about many times, interaction across cultures, social penetration theory. And then this one we all know very well recently is the principles of scams, trying to turn something that's truth into a scam. You guys see how we're getting attacked. It's all right here. Self-presentation in cyber context, narrative, propaganda, branding, marketing, TAA, advertising, sell, own, earn. Thin slicing, design, retention, and trust. Professionalism. Optimizing deception channels. Process of reflection to assess if we are changing our elegancy. Brainstorming. Consider alternate perspectives and intel analysis. Constructing experience in mind of target which should be accepted so they don't realize it. I mean, see how outright messed up this is. How to do some of this in real time, so you need to understand what you are doing in this psychology. Reading from digital tells but going with performance to reduce my risk but satisfy target's inquisition. So that's, they basically, they act friendly and they try to kind of like how if you guys were on that call with Mythbuster, how he was at first acting all friendly and then he was trying to give some truth and give himself credibility, and satisfy, you know, our curiosity and our questions, and then proceeded to say a bunch of negatives to shut people down. And then at the same time, when we asked him for proof, that's when he got very angry and got off the phone. He got off the phone to leave you guys hanging so that you'd be thinking that you missed out on something. See, I see all this. I see all of what this nonsense. So they break it down even further here. I mean, you guys, I'm going to leave all the links to all of these articles because this is very important for you guys to understand. Human science, learning path, history, human aspects of cyber operations, culture, scams and deception in 2 weeks. Strategic influence, 1 day. Psychology, this is must be their classing how long it takes to learn all of these. Magicians, the military, and intelligence. 1856 mission on behalf of Napoleon III to help quell the Marabout-led uprising in Algeria. Camouflage work during Second World War. CIA work on the application of conjuring to clandestine activities. Dissimulation. Hide the real. Okay? Mimicking, inventing, and decoy. Simulation, show the false. The psychological building blocks of deception: attention, perception, sense-making, behavior, and effect. Expectancies. Look at how sick this is. Map of technologies to message delivery. Okay. This is phone voice, IMIRC, your SMSs, Twitter, Facebook, blogging, email, web pages, LinkedIn, news media, attention management. We look where we expect something interesting to happen. We are biased to see, hear, feel, smell, taste what we strongly expect to see, hear, feel, smell, taste. Gambits for deception. Attention, perception, sense-making, effect, and behavior. And then just look at all of this. Present story fragments. Like I said, putting out pieces of information and then leaving you hanging. Swap the real for the false and vice versa. Simple multiple sensors. Stimulate multiple sensors, sorry. Make the cue dynamic. Dazzle and decoy. Repackage, invent. Modify old cues. Create new cues. Mask and mimic. Eliminate, blend, recreate, imitate. Conspicuity and expectancies. The big move covers the little move. The target looks where you look. Attention drops at the perceived end. Repetition reduces vigilance. Ten principles for influence. The deception principle, the dishonesty principle, the herd principle, the consistency principle, the reciprocity principle, the flattery principle, the distraction principle, the social compliance authority principle, the need for greed principle. new product adoption. People make decisions as part of groups. People make decisions for emotional reasons, not rational ones. Social creativity, seed, convert, share. Liking, certainty, disclosure. Mirroring. People copy each other while in social interaction with them. Body language, language cues, expressions, eye movements, and emotions, accommodations. I mean, this is basically them going... This is... Mimicry, adoption of specific social traits by the communicator from the other participant. Question, can I game this? Self-actualization, achieving one's full potential including creative activities, self-fulfillment needs, esteem needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment, belongingness and love needs, intimate relationships, friends, safety needs, security and safety, physiological needs, food, water, warmth, and rest. Who are you? Disruption and computer network attack. Block, turn, fix, disrupt, limit, delay. Okay? That sound, just think about all that right there. So they're turning people against it. They're fixing whatever inconsistencies that they can basically exploit. So if there's any questions left out there or any exploits they can get, then they're going to claim to be able to fix that. Sounds very familiar with Mythbusters, huh? Disrupt. They're going to do what they've been doing with the comment section, with the live chats, jumping into, we've had 2 of them so far, jumping into the conference calls and, saying a bunch of nonsense. Also with like what they've done with Harvey and his videos, delay. They've been, I've had a lot of videos get delayed from coming up. Or delay by giving false information, making us chase our tails, chasing dead ends. Also sounds a little like another content, someone that was pushing out content who I haven't seen pushing it out anymore. Disruption, operational playbook, infiltration operation, ruse operation, set piece operation, false flag operation, false rescue operation, disruption operation, and sting operation. Identifying and exploiting fracture points, just like I said. Things that push a group together, shared opposition, shared ideology, common beliefs, tension. And that's exactly what that douchebag did on that call, and it worked. I mean, there was a bunch of people that got real mad and unsubscribed, and so what he did worked, and that's why I want to educate you guys so this doesn't happen again. Because there's tension. People want answers. People want the solutions. When somebody claims that they have them, when even though they don't, they come in and they claim that, they put some negativity out there, and then they hop off the call, and that's so that you're left wondering what's going, what information did I just miss out on? You didn't miss out on any information. He had no information. That's why when it came time to provide the proof, he didn't. He got all pissed off. Okay, I even was nice. I wasn't even the one that was nasty to him in the comments or in the conference call. And then he turned around, and when I tried to be nice to him in the chat, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm willing to do a one-on-one, just you and me, and I'm willing to hear you out. I just want you to have proof." He got real nasty and proceeded to say a bunch of nasty stuff. And that's the way a lot of these operatives operate. Tension, personal power, pre-existing cleavages, competition, ideological differences, things that pull a group apart. And that's what they're trying to do. Full rollout complete by early 2013, 150 plus J-Trig and op staff fully trained. And they do use bots. So even though it's saying like 150 of them, they're probably multiplied like tenfold by 2017. And they also have bots that they operate. Mainstreaming work. Push reduced level 1 tradecraft to 500 GC HQ analysts. Those are the people analyzing. The J-Trig are the ones that are actually doing the attacks. Relentlessly optimized training in tradecraft. As you can see, it's just conjuring with information. And then it's got the head of human science. Stuff's redacted, but as you guys can see, yeah, if this doesn't open people's eyes, I don't know what will. And then you also have the text side of this. I9 people copy each other while on social. It's just, I don't know. But that's not it. I got another manual for you guys, and you're going to find that one pretty interesting too. Computational Propaganda Research Project. Okay. This was in 2017 too. Troops, Trolls, and Troublemakers, a global inventory of organized social media manipulation. University of Oxford. Executive summary. Social media and democracy, methodology, strategies, tools, and techniques for social media manipulation. Commenting on social media posts, individual targeting, government-sponsored accounts, web pages or applications, fake accounts, and computational propaganda. Content creation. Organizational forms, government, politicians and parties, private contractors, volunteers, paid citizens. Organizational budget, behavior, and capacity. Budget information, organizational behavior, capacity building, conclusion references, series acknowledgement, and author biographies. Table 1, strategies, tools, and techniques for social media manipulation. Organizational forms, organizational budget, behavior, and capacity. Figure 1, organizational destiny of cyber troops 2017. Cyber troops are government, military, or political party teams committed to manipulating public opinion over social media. In this working paper, we report on specific organizations created often with public money to help define and manage what's in the best interest of the public. We compare such companies or such organizations across 28 countries and inventory them according to the kinds of messages, valences, and communication strategies used. We catalog their organizational forms and evaluate their capacities in terms of budgeting and staffing. This working paper summarizes the findings of the first comprehensive inventory of major organizations behind social media manipulation. Okay? We find that cyber troops are a pervasive and global phenomenon. Many different countries employ significant numbers of people and resources to manage and manipulate public opinion online, sometimes targeting domestic audiences and sometimes targeting foreign publics. The earliest report of organized social media manipulation emerged in 2010. By 2017, there are details on such organizations in 28 countries. Looking across the 28 countries, every authoritarian regime has social media campaigns targeting their own populations, while only a few of them target foreign publics. In contrast, almost every democracy in the sample has organized social media campaigns that target foreign publics. while political party-supported campaigns target domestic voters. Authoritarian regimes are not only, or even at the best, at organized social media manipulation. The earliest reports of government involvement in nudging public opinion involve democracies, and new innovations in political communication technologies often come from political parties and arise during high-profile elections. Over time, the primary mode for organizing cyber troops has gone from involving military units that experiment with manipulating public opinion over social media networks or strategic communication firms that take contracts from governments for social media campaigns. Social media and democracy. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's pretty big. I'm just going to read this first part here. Social media has become a valuable platform for public life. It is the primary medium over which young people around the world develop their political identities and consume news. However, social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have also become tools for social control. Many governments now spend significant resources and employ large numbers of people to generate content, direct opinion, and engage with both foreign and domestic audiences. This working paper lays the groundwork for understanding the global trends in the organized and coordinated use of social media for manipulating public opinion. In this paper, we define cyber troops as government military, we've already gone over that, committed to manipulating public opinion over social media. Given that little is known about the difference in capacity, tools, and techniques of these practices in different countries, we conducted a cross-national and comparative study of global cyber troops, examining social media operation in 25 countries. We have undertaken an inventory of budget expenditures, staffing, organizational behavior, and communication strategies to analysis the size, scale, and extent to which the kinds of political regimes deploy cyber troops to influence and manipulate the public online. So, in January 2015, that's on the British announced its 77th Brigade would focus on non-lethal psychological operations using social networks like Facebook and Twitter to fight enemies by gaining control over the narrative and the information age. The United Kingdom is not alone in allocating troops and funding for influencing online political discourse. Instead, where did I leave it? Sorry. This part of larger phenomenon whereby governments are turning to internet platforms to exert influence over information flows and communication channels to shape public opinion. We summarize this phenomenon in the following 28 countries: Argentina, Azerbaijan, Australia, Bahrain, Brazil, China, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Germany, India, Iran, Israel, Mexico, North Korea, Philippines, Poland, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, South Korea, Syria, Taiwan, Turkey, Ukraine, the United Kingdom, and the United States, Venezuela, and Vietnam. In terms of scope, there are several things we do not investigate. First, although cyber troops will often apply traditional offensive cyber attacks such as hacking or surveillance to targeting users for trolling or harassment campaigns, this is not a working paper about hackers or cybersecurity professionals who work in a governmental capacity. An important distinction between cyber troops and other state-based actors operating in cyberspace is their role in actively shaping public opinion. Second, there are many countries that have no domestic organizations for social media manipulation, but practice in multilateral mutual defense pacts with programs for doing so. For example, NATO has accredited international military organization called NATO Strategic Communication Center of Excellence with a list of sponsoring nations, not all of which are in the inventory we present here informed civil society organizations that use social media in a coordinated way are not included in this analytical frame, nor are private firms or industrial associations and with organized campaigns to manipulate public opinion. And just so you guys know, that is very real. Like, private organizations and corporations do that as well. So, you know, we're getting controlled and trolled and shilled by many different ways. You've got your corporations, you've got your government, from law enforcement to the NSA and espionage to also just basic political teams, like during the Hillary and Trump campaign. There was a lot of it going on. And then you also have, when it comes to products and product placement, you see a lot of trolls and shills that are basically either fake, either bots, or somebody is actually, making fake reviews on these products to support their products. Methodology: we conducted the research for this working paper in 3 stages. I'm going to skip through all this, try to get to the meat. This one might be important though. Media bias is a significant concern when conducting a content analysis that uses purposive sampling to mitigate any biases in the preliminary content analysis. We used LexisNexis and the top 3 search engine providers, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, which provided hits to a variety of professional and amateur news sources. A total of 104 news stories were identified. We then ranked the articles based on their credibility using a similar ranking system to the one employed by Joyce et al. And Woolley. The articles were scored on a 3-point scale, with 3 being the most credible and 1 being the least credible. Articles ranked at 3 came from major professionally branded news organizations such as ABC, BBC, Reuters, The Economist, The Guardian, The Independent, The Mirror, The New York Times, The Telegraph, The Wall Street Journal, The Washington Post, and Wired magazine. Articles ranked at 2 came from smaller professional news organizations or commentary-oriented websites or expert blogs such as Al Monitor, BuzzFeed, Freedom House, Human Rights Watch, The New Republic, etc., The Observer, The Intercept, and The Verge. Articles ranked at 1 came from content farms, social media posts, or personal hyper-partisan blogs. These articles were removed from the sample. Total of 83 news articles made up the final sample, and from these we were able to extract several different kinds of variables. More importantly, we defined 3 domains of comparative analysis. Let's get to the actual trolls. Okay, cyber troops use a variety of strategies, tools, and techniques for social media manipulation. Generally speaking, teams have an overarching communication strategy that involves creating official government applications, websites, or platforms for disseminating content using accounts either real, fake, or automated, just like I've been saying with the bots and then the fake accounts, to interact with users on social media, or creating substantive content such as images, videos, or blog posts. Teams also differ in the valence of their messages and interactions with users online. Valence is a term that's used to define attractiveness, goodness, or aversiveness, badness of a message, event, or a thing. Some teams use pro-government, positive, or nationalistic language when engaging with the public online. Other teams will harass, troll, or threaten users who express dissenting dissenting positions. Okay, as we've been seeing a lot. The following section outlines in more detail the strategies, tools, and techniques used for social media manipulation, and Table 1 summarizes the points of comparison across the country cases. Commenting on social media posts. Cyber troops in almost every country in our sample actively engage with users by commenting on posts that are shared on social media platforms. The valence of these engagements differs across our sample. Some cyber troops focus on positive messages that reinforce or support the government's position or political ideology. Israel, for example, has a strict policy of engaging in positive interactions with individuals who hold positions that are critical the government. Stern-Hoffman 2013, negative interactions involve verbal abuse, harassment, and so-called trolling against social media users who express criticism of the government in many countries. Cyber troops engage in all these negative interactions with political dissidents in connection with the government. I'm not even trying to go into that, but youth have been known to post abusive comments on social media, and in Mexico, journalists are frequently targeted and harassed over social media by government-sponsored cyber troops, which that's what happens in America too. Just like me, how I'm putting out information that they're not liking and I'm getting attacked. However, the valence of comments is not always clearly positive or negative. Instead, some cyber troops will post neutral comments designed to distract or divert attention from the issue being discussed. Saudi Arabia, for example, engages in hashtag poisoning, where cyber troops spam trending hashtags to disrupt criticism or unwanted conversations through a flood of unrelated tweets. Freedom House 2013. Other countries, such as the Czech Republic, post comments that are neither positive or negative, but rather fact-check information. For the most part, the valence commenting strategies does not occur in isolation. Cyber troops will often use a mix of positive, negative, and neutral posts when engaging with users on social media. This is best articulated by a member of the so-called 50 Cent Party, so-called because of a rumor that government-sponsored internet commentators were paid 50 cents every time they posted online messages. The informant noted that a common strategy is to post emotive comments online in order to generate directed citizen rage towards the commentator, thereby diverting criticism away from the government or political issue originally being discussed. And you guys can see this. You guys can see this like every single day, just on my videos or on my live streams. You have some of these trolls come in, or on my videos they'll comment, and like that first they'll act like they're all part of us. They'll act like they're along with the movement, and they'll put out like neutral or positive comments, and then when they feel the opportunity is right, just like what happened on that PS4 video, we saw a whole bunch of them. And they're easy to tell at that point, because like the one guy had a big finger pointing at you, and what they were doing was they were turning around and using that opportunity to try to get people angry at me and turn on me, to then shut them down and move them away from the accounts and the topic that we've been discussing. Individual targeting is a cyber troop strategy that involves selecting an individual or group to influence on social media. In Poland, for example, opinion leaders, including prominent bloggers, journalists, and activists, are carefully selected and targeted with messages in order to convince them that their followers hold certain beliefs and values. Other, more popular forms of individual targeting involve harassment. Harassment generally involves verbal abuse, hate speech, discrimination, and or trolling against values, beliefs, or identity of a user or group of users online. Individual targeting is different from negative valence posts on social media, as a harassment usually spans a long duration. So I'm actually going to show you guys, just so you can see for yourselves, an example that's happened to me, okay? And I'm going to show it to you from my email. Now, if you remember that whole thing with Crypto News, where he put out the wrong information, well, I was emailed by several different emails the same information weeks prior. But when I looked at the information, I realized it was just a personal UCC filing and it was not relevant. So what I did was I put it in the Dropbox. That way the information was there. And, you know, if there was anything I needed to reference back to, then okay, it was there and it was out for the public so everybody could take a look at it. Well, after Crypto News, I was getting attacked by one of those people that was claiming to be a private investigator and that they that information is extremely important and blah blah blah, and if I don't put it up, then he was going to expose me for the fraud that I am, which is hilarious. You know, like, I'm not a fraud. I'm putting out the truth. It was very clear that that had nothing to do with any of that, and he was trying to push this as disinformation. So that's exactly going on to what they're talking about here, how they'll use, subscribers or viewers. They'll try to infiltrate you and make you think that try to push you over the tipping edge, that you need to get out certain information that will go along with what your subscribers or viewers want to hear or need to hear. And in reality, they're putting you out there to make you look like a fool. They're doing that to discredit you. And I see that stuff. Like I've said, you guys don't understand yet, but I've been in this movement since 2011. I got my first, started watching my first truther videos in 2005. So I've already done a lot of the research. I don't share even a fraction of what I know yet, because not when it comes to the accounts, that I have, but there's certain topics that, and that's what I'm working on doing, is to share that with you guys in a way that you'll be able to understand it and be able to soak it in a way where it's not going to overwhelm you or shut you down or make you fear, because I'm here to empower you with knowledge and empower you to be able to move forward and do continue on successfully in this movement. So I use my own common sense, and I think of how I felt when I was in your position. So what I do is, like this video, for instance. So I knew I wanted to do it. I write it down. I say, okay, this is the stuff I need to do. I get all the information and I bookmark it. That way I can come back to it and then get that video out. I do mention little things in the videos to say, hey, yes, this, for the people that already know, to also reassure that, yes, I know that, and yes, I'm going to be covering that. But yeah, so there's a lot of information that you guys are going to be learning, a lot like this, and this information is crucial because when you piece it all together, you see just how deep this all goes. I'm going to pause this video and pull up that email for you. Now, as I was just explaining to you guys, that I was going to show you some proof. So now this is the email I was talking about. I'm a retired private defense attorney. I sent you proof the IRS owns America over a week ago. However, you did not consider it worthwhile to address until your rival Crypto News TV produced a video. I sent the same information to Anna Von Reitz and numerous others over the last month or so. This information is to be shared with everybody. It is not a competition. The future of our nation and the lives of Americans are at stake. This is no time for petty rivalries. I will provide you with the same information as everyone else, only if you cease with your personal attacks. Otherwise, you will not be included in the stages of information release that I will provide all Americans, the means to reclaim their freedom, inalienable rights, and property. I request that you do not share this information, or that you do share this information and documents with other YouTube video producers and alternative news sites. This information release will give step-by-step instructions and explanations of what documents mean. I ask that you refrain from interpreting these documents or attempting to challenge this legal significance or effect. You are obviously not qualified to render a legal opinion. Instead, I am willing to do an interview over the phone to address
specific questions your followers have with regards to the documents and how they function. Really, dude. So as you can see, I have no doubt in my mind that this guy is COINTELPRO and that he is here to lead us on a wild goose chase and deter us. Now, he sent me this email after I put out that video where I completely broke down exactly what it was that Crypto News had and was claiming the IRS owned the United States, when in all factualness, it had nothing to do with the IRS owning anything. It was a personal UCC filing for that person to, as they thought they were doing, protect their estate and protect their person. And the IRS was simply the record holder. So this defense attorney, they used something to make themselves sound credible, and then they try to use fear of, oh, I'm not going to get the information if I don't do what this guy says, and everybody's going to think that I'm, oh my, no, you know, go choke on it, dude. And then he continues on that, see, it's word for word. Actually, just reading this compared to what I was, the documents that I'm reading on these government trolls and shills and the COINTELPRO, you can see how it like falls directly in that whole process that they use, like word for word. It's kind of like it's kind of crazy when you see it and you know what you're looking at. So yeah, he sent me all this, and funny enough, then he continued saying, I can't understand legal documents and this and that. Well, very obviously, I guess I know law better than he does, and I know what legal documents mean because, yeah, it had nothing to do with anything that he was trying to say. So, as a show of good faith, I have attached the same information I provided Crypto News TV. I expect you to behave in a mature, responsible fashion. Yeah, see how this guy words everything. It's probably a bot, to be honest with you, or it might be an actual operative. But this most certainly was from a guy that is definitely 100% COINTELPRO. If he's not COINTELPRO, then he is a disinformation agent. And you can see with the way that he tries to use fear, because whenever somebody tries to use fear on you, that's how you know that they're an agent. That's their famous way of trying to take hold of you. Like literally, I don't even know. The reason why I'm thinking it might be a bot is because of the fact that he sent this after I like publicly discredited everything that was put out by Crypto News in that document, which I don't know. Crypto News might be an agent as well. Who knows? It's kind of funny he hasn't put anything else up since. Almost like his cover got blown or something. But maybe he's not. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun on that. He might have just been getting emails like this where the guy is, you know, claiming to be a lawyer, and Crypto didn't do any of his own research to understand it fully, and then ended up as a result, you know, getting kind of screwed on the deal. But there was more than just that time that there was disinfo coming from there, which is why I was really leading in my mind, and then the comments that he left on my YouTube really made me start to think that he very well might be COINTELPRO himself. So I know it's a lot to take in, guys. Like literally the fact that this is real, and that you can kind of see it. Like as I was reading all of this, individual targeting is a cyber troop strategy that involves selecting an individual group to influence on social media. In Poland, for example, opinion leaders, including prominent bloggers, journalists, and activists, are carefully selected and targeted with messages in order to convince them that their followers hold certain beliefs and values. Other more popular forms of individual targeting involve harassment. Harassment generally involves verbal abuse, hate speech, discrimination, and/or trolling against values, beliefs, or identity of the user or the group of users online. Individual targeting is different from negative valence posts on social media, as the harassment usually spans a long duration. However, some harassment takes place during important political events, such as elections, for example. In South Korea, employees are employees from the National Intelligence Service launched a series of smear campaigns against South Korean opposition parties. But yeah, you guys can kind of keep, I don't need to keep going through this. There's a lot of information here. I suggest that every single one of you read it. I don't want to just read it word for word and have everybody shut down. This video is already just about, it's about to break an hour long. So there's a lot of information here. And the United States kind of uses a custom blend of all of these different methods. They're like one of the originators of the cyber troops and cyber attacks and cyber trolling. So they actually have like the most expansive method of attack here. See here, this breaks down strategies, tools, and techniques for social media manipulation, country messaging and valence communication strategy. So let's go down to the U.S. They do positive, negative, and then neutral. So they use all three. Individual targeting, they don't have the data, but they do individual targeting. Like, they are horrible with it. Fake accounts, automated, human, and cyborg. So like I said, there's automated bots, there's AI bots, and then there's human interaction. Government websites, accounts, or applications, they don't have the evidence out of what they found. That's all that means. Content creation, evidence found. So they're putting out videos, propaganda films, stuff like that. And it's not coming from like propaganda sources that you would expect. It's coming from like what would seem like a person, like a private individual. Authors' evaluations based on data collected 2010 to 2017. This table reports on automated trolling, political activity, even if not clearly associated with a sponsoring organization, for social media comments, plus equals pro-government or nationalistic comments, negative minus equals harassment, trolling, or negative interactions with users, and n equals distracting or changing topics of discussion or fact-checking information, which I'm sure you guys saw all over the comments early on with a lot of those prove it's a fact. That's one of their neutral bots that they have. Then you saw like Emma Willard. Emma Willard was what you consider the negative valence troll accounts. That was a bot. There was a whole bunch of them. I'm gonna actually compile a list, and I'm gonna go through and go on other people's videos because I have them all blocked now. They're all blocked on mine. I don't want to unblock them and have them making my life chaotic. I'm dealing with the new ones that are coming up as it is, and I wouldn't even be surprised if BTC Stacker was one of these as well. He got very vulgar. He was very racist. He was sending all kinds of messed up stuff in the beginning when he was playing along as a friendly. Like, he was part of the group. He was saying, you need to stop being associating with Harvey. And then he was saying a bunch of racist stuff about Harvey. And I said, man, you cannot be saying that kind of stuff. And that's when I ended up blocking him because he wouldn't stop. So I told him that's not cool. I'm not dealing with that kind of crap. And that's why I'm really, there's so many of these. It's not like you can't even. I try to really give people like a chance or something, like a corrective action chance. I'll warn people like, hey, you have a chance here. This is your one chance. If you do this again, then I'm gonna have to block you. I've actually kind of stopped doing that now. I'm just going straight to blocking because it's gotten so out of hand. But yeah, if somebody says something really, really nasty or racist or anything like that, I just go straight to blocking now. Before, I would say, look, you need to not be talking that way. This is your only warning. I'm not allowing that kind of talking on this channel. And now I just block. Just block. But I am going to compile a list in screenshots and like video of me going to other people's videos and showing these trolls, these automated trolls. I mean, literally, they're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they've been like on this every single video that comes out on these topics. They've been on the comment section for like well over a month now. And it just goes to prove, because like a normal human would have moved on to something by now. They wouldn't still be sitting there focusing on the same thing all day long, day in, day out. You know what I mean? They wouldn't waste their time on it. They would try to say some stuff, and they would, you know, attempt to warn or whatever in the beginning, and then when they realized that nobody's listening to them, they would have moved on. But that's how you can also tell the government trolls and bots. Let's see. We all know about the politicians and parties. Private contractors in some cases. Cyber troops are private contractors hired by the government. Private contractors are usually temporary and are assigned to help with a particular mission or cause. For example, the United States government hired public relations firm to develop a persona management tool to develop and manage fake profiles on social media. Of course, the boundary between a private contractor and the state is not always very clear. Volunteers, some people volunteer. And then paid citizens. Some cyber troops are citizens who are actively recruited by the government and are paid for remunerated in a sort of way for their work. They are not official government employees working in public service, nor are they employees of a company contracted to work. On social media strategy, they are not volunteers because they are paid for their time and efforts in supporting a cyber troop campaign. Normally, these paid citizens are recruited because they hold a prominent position in social society or online. So, organizational forms, this is going to break out. We got the government, the politicians and parties, civil society, citizens, private sector, and number of forms. Let's go see what the U.S. is at. DARPA, U.S. Cyber Command, U.S. Agency for International Development, Air Force, Pentagon, Democratic Party, Republican Party, evidence found for the private contract work, evidence found for the volunteers, and then for the paid citizens, CENTCOM, HB, and Gary. I think this document, this book here, like this manual or paper that was done, this is probably the most damning piece of evidence, even more damning than that manual that I did before this, because it really breaks out like specific details. Cyber troop teams differ in their budgets, behaviors, and capacity. Our study has found that team sizes range from small team of less than 20 to a vast network of 2 million individuals working to promote the party. Yeah, budget information, organizational behavior. Let's see. We have identified several organizational practices of cyber troop teams: a clear hierarchy and reporting structure, content review by superiors, and strong coordination across agencies or team, weak coordinations across agencies or teams, and liminal teams. In some cases, teams are highly structured with clear assigned duties and reporting hierarchy, which you can actually clearly see when you look at the different bots and trolls. So like one of them will focus on one method of attack. Like Emma Willard, for example, will try to defame and slander, and then also try to instill fear of like arrest or crime, you know, like that what you're doing is a crime. And then you have other ones that are trying to go, like there's another, the prove it's a fact is just trying to go off of disproving it's a fact or evidence based. And then you have you know, your, let's say Bleeding Edge Digital, for example, how he just kind of uses the defamation and discrediting, but he tries to come across as, say, like a real individual. He even creates content, like I was showing you in those manuals. That's one of the things that they do. So Yeah, I mean, each one, if you look, they have a different way of like attacking, but they're all doing the same thing. Some of them come from a religious angle. Some of them come from, you know, like a trying to be helpful angle. The whole thing is just. Training staff to improve skills, abilities associated with producing and disseminating propaganda, providing rewards or incentives for high-performing individuals, and investing in research and development projects. Classes, tutorials, or even summer camps to help prepare. They get to go to summer camp to learn how to be a frickin' troll. Dirtbags. See what the U.S. has. Multiple programs valued at $2.7 million, $42 million, and $8.9 million invest in research and development. Conclusion: there is no doubt that individual social media users can spread hate speech, troll other users, or set up automated political communication campaigns. Unfortunately, this is also an organized phenomenon with major governments and political parties dedicating significant resources towards the use of social media for public opinion manipulation. Country heat map of cyber troop capacity defined by the number of different organizational types involved. In many countries, political actors have no reported ability to field social media campaigns. In some countries, one or two known political actors occasionally use social media for political messaging, and in a few other countries, there are multiple government agencies, political parties, or civil society groups reorganizing, trolling, and fake news campaigns. In this figure, countries with many kinds of organizations are the darker shades of red, blah, blah, blah. You can see that map. I mean, look at the U.S. It's like one of the hot spots here. So, that's one of the biggest hot spots there is the U.S. Actually, no, that is the biggest hot spot there is. The U.S. has the worst out of all of them. And then this is the references. Going through these references and taking some of these pages and looking at them would be very useful. I'm going to actually be doing that myself. I'll put all the links to this in the description box. As I said, there's still some more to go through. I hope most of you, toughed it out and stuck for the whole video, because I originally thought it was going to be a shorter video, but there's just way too much information to leave out. Maybe I'll make a shorter video afterward, and there's also going to be a longer video with a lot of visual video. Governments deploy cyber troops for social media manipulation study. Not a study, they've been doing it for a long time. Governments are using so-called cyber troops to manipulate public opinion on social media, according to a study from the University of Oxford. This practice is a sweeping global phenomenon based in both authoritarian regimes and Western democracies, according to researchers in the Computational Propaganda Project, who have been investigating the issue since 2012. And then Comprop is one of the U.S. Ones, I believe. I think that was one of the ones listed. The research focuses exclusively on organized social media campaigns that have clear support of political parties and government. Researchers conducted a content analysis, mainly mainstream media outlets, including The Guardian, BBC News, Washington Post. Yeah, that's pretty much going on the same stuff we just went through. The team noted that they also consulted with country experts to check facts and find additional sources in multiple languages to assist in evaluating the quality of the sources. Cyber troops are government, military, political teams. Yeah. it's all fact at this point, guys. I wanted to make sure that you guys know. U.S. court upholds gag rules on surveillance and social media users. So they put a gag order. U.S. court upholds gag rules on surveillance of social media users. In the U.S., the study named DARPA, U.S. Cyber Command, U.S. Agency for International Development, the Air Force, and the Pentagon as a government organizational forum operating to alter public opinion through social media. It cites its budgets for the 3 specific U.S. government projects started at $2.7 million, $42 million, and $8.9 million. DARPA funded an $8.9 million study in the U.S. in 2010 to see how social media could be used to influence people's behavior by tracking down how they responded to content online. In 2011, it announced an investment of $41 million in research and development program to study social media networks and how information ideas spread. So to anybody that's still out there saying that this is bullshit, it's all right here, man. Sniffers and taps on journalists. WikiLeaks publishes emails as whistleblower Brown is paroled. In apparent response to claims by HB Gary CEO Aaron Barr that he had used social media exploitation to infiltrate the hacking collective, the leak revealed that the company had been hired by the U.S. government to develop software which could create an army of fake social media profiles to manipulate public opinion on controversial issues. While the end goal of each country analyzed in the paper is to shape public opinion, the technique used differed from offering users positive comments to trolling them. Meanwhile, a number of countries, including the US, Russia, and China, were recorded as using a combination of positive, negative, and distracting engagement on social media. The use of social media manipulation among governments is likely to grow, according to the researchers, who admit that they are almost certainly cyber troop operations have not been publicly documented. Got a little bit more here. And this is just another article here that goes into it. Began in 2010, by 2017. I mean, this is all the same stuff. I'm going to put this in the description box too, because this could be important as well. Privacy advocates suffered a stinging defeat by federal appeals court, which ruled in favor of the FBI's non-disclosure surveillance request enforced on social media and tech companies. So these judges are just outright breaking the constitutional laws and allowing this bullshit to continue. It's all propaganda. That's why we all need to unite, stand together, and really, I mean, I'm dead serious when I say we're at war with the truth. It's a truth war here. We need to get all this information out. We need to share it with everybody we know. Just this video I did here, if you guys were to share this before sharing anything about the accounts, I'm pretty sure that this would be enough fact-driven media for them to wake up and see what is really going on here. Just the fact that this is actually a thing, that it's actually true and factual, I think that would be enough for people to start becoming a little bit more questionable as to what's really going on in this country. And then from there, after showing them this video, then you can go into things like the account. This is a really good eye-opener, I think. I am going to be doing another video on this where I'm going to go, like I said, and pull a bunch of data from other videos of the trolls, of that kind of stuff in action. And then I'm going to also do a video with a bunch of different, segments from other people's videos that show a lot of good information and mesh it all together. This is so important. This is one of the most important things of our lives. We need to understand that. is exposing this corrupt criminal organization that we call the Federal Reserve and the federal government, and we need to remove them from power. We need to clear it out, and we need to put real people that are for us, that bring this government back to the way it was supposed to be when the founding fathers had established it, versus allowing these criminals to do what they're doing on a daily basis. But they upheld the gag order so that
internal documents have leaked from Facebook, and they reveal that the site's censorship rules are getting many black activists banned on Facebook. Posting political dissent is now considered to be as offensive as physically threatening someone or posting a picture of a nipple. You know, although I will argue nipples can be dangerous. I once knew a nipple so charismatic, it could topple a regime. It really could. Here to discuss is senior Facebooker Naomi Cavani. Naomi!
Lee, you think my nipples can topple dictators?
I don't know your nipples.
Well, they're pretty powerful. Anyway, these leaks are terrible news for Facebook, but great news for MySpace. MySpace is like, we may have allowed child pornography, but at least we weren't racist. We had children of all types. Everyone is criticizing Facebook now, but they're doing their best to limit hate speech online by using an algorithm that protects all races, all genders, and all disabilities, but not all ages, you know? So you could post something like, all millennials should be bludgeoned to death with dictionaries whenever they abbreviate the word super as soups, you know?
Oh, wait, you are allowed to do that? Oh, that changes my day.
See, if you guys don't get that, though, too, then there's more mockery about the censorship, that the censorship is... you got to see it for what it is. It's racism. You got to bring that up and everything. It's more of the division. But the bottom line is, the censorship is not just about hate speech. The censorship is to stifle the truth, and that's what's really going on here. So I'll leave this link in the description as well, and then this is another important one. Monsanto accused of hiring an army of trolls to silence online dissent. Okay, so Monsanto also has used the trolls, and I'm going to leave the link to this in the description box.
Biotech giant Monsanto has been accused of hiring an army of internet trolls to counter negative comments. The allegations surfaced amid lawsuits claiming the company's products cause cancer, with Monsanto allegedly concealing potential risks. It's claimed Monsanto targets all online material that mentions the danger in any of its products. According to court papers, the company launched the program under the name Let Nothing Go. The allegation is through third parties that employs individuals with no connections to the industry to defend Monsanto online. Earlier we spoke to Timothy Litzenberg about this. He's a lawyer for one of the plaintiffs.
The Let Nothing Go program, which handles negative comments on a microscopic level. It's Monsanto's goal right now to let no negative comment, even on the internet, go unnoticed and unaddressed. And my understanding is there's typically a series of intermediaries that ends up with folks that will be willing to make supportive comments. It's very suspicious. If you look at negative press coverage of Monsanto online and you look at the comments section, you'll see people from across the country coming out in favor of Monsanto. It's a housewife from Texas, or it's a farmer from Iowa. I don't know anything about.
So as you guys can see, even Monsanto was doing the same thing. They were hiring trolls to go on the comments, and then from there, yeah, you know the rest. Invasion of troll armies from Russian Trump supporters to Turkish state stooges. Another good article. I'm going to leave that in the description box. And then internet trolls evolved. Federal government routinely hires trolls, internet shills, to monitor chat rooms, disrupt article comment sections, like I said. You've probably run into them before, those seemingly random antagonizers who are always end up diverting the conversation to an online chat room or article comment section away from the issue at hand, just like that that guy yesterday in the live stream for the People 2017 who came in, was spamming the chat room. He was spamming the chat room and telling people to go check out his videos from, and he was doing that from his other account first. And then once I said, okay, I'll check it out after this video, then he switched to his other account, came back in, have you checked it out yet? When I said, no, I haven't, then I noticed somebody had, and they mentioned that it was completely different from what he was telling people. It was knocking the movement, and this guy does not show his face in his video. All he does is he talks, and they use people that sound like they wouldn't be government operatives. And as soon as I called him a troll, he called into the conference call very quickly, and he got very aggressive and very nasty. But again, I let him say what he had to say real quick, and then when I gave him the rebuttal, which was the truth, the proof, then he got really mad and again hung up. Same as Mythbusters. So again, you got to see the common trend here, that they're not afraid to call in these trolls. They don't just sit behind the keyboard. They will actually act like, you know, you or me, and yeah, that's all part of it. So you guys can see all this here. I'm going to leave all these links for you guys. I hope that you found this information eye-opening, informative, and a little bit alarming. So let's rally up. This is another thing that we have to end. So we're going to have to come up with some ideas. Leave me your ideas in the comment section of a campaign that we can launch to combat trolls and maybe end government trolling online. Yeah. So if you guys like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. Everybody that's watched it to the end, please give me a thumbs up. Because the trolls are really taking a toll on the thumbs up and the thumbs down, and the more thumbs up we have, the higher that this video gets on the search results. So I would really appreciate it. Everybody give me a thumbs up. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you're new to the channel, I strongly recommend subscribing. You can do it right down below, right over by my name. Just make sure that you subscribe to the channel, as we have a lot of really good truth information coming out. You don't want to miss it. It's very important. Yeah, leave me your thoughts in the comment section. Much love, guys. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. Sharing is the most important thing you can do. Be caring and share.